Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Muchiveda Vibhagine Vyomavda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatosh Maham Om. Om Shanti Shanti Om. Namaste. Welcome. Let me close this thing here. Okay. Does not change much. Verse 15. Page 95 at the bottom there. Things, verse 15, things which are experienced within are not very clear, and things which are experienced outside is very clear. All of them are project only. The distinction is due to a different sense organ. So it appears to me that this verse presents already the dialogue with question and answer. The objector is saying, so no, I mean, there must be a distinction between the awakening world and the dream world. Why? Because in the dream, we don't experience things very clearly. And in the waking world, we experience it clearly. So one more angle, of the same objection. Outside is real, inside is unreal. And now it says, furthermore, outside things are experienced very clearly. So. And inside, I can't see, I can't understand what's going on. So the argument is the same. It's just saying that it is more clear. And as the counter argument here, the counter argument is like the dream world is experienced as an unclear way from the standpoint of the awaker. But from the standpoint of the dreamer, it seems that we don't know exactly, because when the dreamer turns to become a waker, we cannot make a judgment from the standpoint of the dreamer. And the dreamer has a hard time to do viveka during the dream, to access the level of its experience and to tell us if it's really very clear. So Swami Paramarthananda somehow gives a hint that is a very objective experience, dualistic experience, in which the dreamer experiences the dream world. So whether it's clear or not remains a question mark, because when we are dreaming, somehow we can't really take that judgment back into the awaker to respond somehow. It's very, very interesting. And only the awaker can, in retrospective, judge the dream, but does not have the good base to judge, because the moment that we come out, we are standing on another sub-order of reality from which the dream world cannot really be judged. So we can judge the awaker world because here everything is structured in a way that we have our intellectual faculty and the world structured in a physical, material way that allows us to process experience and hopefully gaining some knowledge, some wisdom. So these are all very subtle arguments. When we go from different sub-orders of reality, we see mithya. There are two fundamental orders of reality. One is real and the other is apparently real. The apparently real is called mithya in our sampradaya. And we see mithya, there are several sub-orders of reality that applies only to those entities which are designed to experience those specific suborders of reality. After awaking up, the dreamer is not able to clearly remember whether the dream was clear or not, because the dream objects are no longer clear, I would say, are no longer clear. We can say that the dream objects are not clear. Why? People say that in 1 minute, you can have so many experiences that would take 1 day in the awakened state, because everything goes fast. And boom, 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 boom. Some people refer to something like that. But the dream objects, they go very fast, but maybe they don't go very fast from the standpoint of the dreamer, the subtle body of the dreamer in that realm. The subtle body of the visual of the awakening entities also here, but it's hooked with the physical body, accessing the physical world, and then it experiences things differently, and then it appears to be more structured, more real, more tangible, more clear, but only from the standpoint of the awaker. So here we cannot really say that objects in the dream world are not very clear. The objector's definition is that what is clearly available is real, and what is unclear is mithya. So this is an objector that is refuted, for 2 reasons. For several reasons, but we can never really be sure that the dream world is not clear, okay, in reference to the dreamer, which is a subtle body not hooked up with the physical body, or at least in that state. It's just using a different sort of instruments of perception. So generally speaking, we say that we have the instruments of perception and the organs of perception, just to make a linguistic distinction. But fundamentally, we have instruments of perception which belongs to the subtle body that we call organs of perception, to make a distinction. But it is an instrument because we can hear, we can touch, we can see things, everything in the dream world. So we have certain instruments of perception there, which are different, absolutely different. Therefore, the objector's definition is that what is clearly available, like we perceive in the real, in the awakening world, through our sensory physical body, our sense organs and our sense instruments, or howsoever, it gives us a sense that this is more clear, more tangible, more structured. But the fact is that both are mithya, and we cannot prove that the experience the dreamer has in the dream state is not clear. That's my point. I'm adding up another point here, okay? Gaudapada answers that the objector is making the same mistake as before, judging a certain suborder from the standpoint of another suborder of mithya. So, and then he brings back the verse 15 in the following subsequent class, and he does some recap. He talks about the second chapter, which is about the nature of mithya, mithyatva, so which is about the awakened world and the awakening entity. And then we want to establish the nature of mithya. And once we have it properly established, we start making some parallels with the dream world, which is experienced by the dreamer to come to the conclusion that both are equally mithya. No? And the final purpose of all of that is to establish what is satya, then what is reality. So the reality is one and the same, is the knower, is the observer, is the true nature of the experiencer. Yeah? And this knower, this observer, this experiencer fundamentally is not the body-mind, but it is pure, limitless consciousness. And again, here we go into those paradox, okay, limitations and paradox, apparent paradox, because again and again we say that consciousness is not an experiencing entity, it's not a knowing entity, but it becomes, quote unquote, an experiencing entity as the body-mind complex. The body-mind complex is experiencing, but it's not experienced due to its own conscious existence. It's borrowing consciousness from Turiya. Yeah? So who is really experienced? This is a very philosophical inquiry. And who is really experiencing? So it is the Jiva Atma, but only the Jiva Atma, once it's properly understood that the Jiva Atma is in reality Paramatma, okay, appearing as a Jiva Atma, once it is properly understood and claimed and owned, yeah? And then we can say, and only then we can say, no, consciousness is the real experience from the standpoint of what? Of the yoni, a body-mind complex that knows that I am consciousness. Yeah? So who is experienced depends on the identity of whosoever is making this kind of inquiry. Yeah? So we went through so many arguments. The awakened world has utility, the dream does not. And so I don't want to be repetitive, but we saw Gaudapada or Gaudapada just refusing and presenting the flaws behind those objections. You want to say something, Lynn? So the central principle of the second chapter is to define and conclude that any and all fields or realms of experience, which includes the experiencing entity in its material nature, yeah? Everything is mithya. Yeah? We have seen various definitions of mithya, but the conclusion is that the body-mind complex is mithya. But then again and again, so how come the scripture says that Jivatma is Paramatma? Jivatma, which to begin with is mithya, is the entity experiencing mithya, which is integral part of the mithya. How come the Upanishads in the end come and say, but Jivatma is Paramatma? Yeah? So it is a question of sense of identity, okay? So the Jivatma in its material nature, which is matter/energy, is mithya. But once this Jivatma inquires, investigates its true nature, it discovers that its true nature is Satchitananda, is Turiya, is consciousness. No? And then we can say, so is the Jivatma mithya Atma or Satya Atma? No? And then we say, it depends on the sense of identity of the person doing this inquiry. No? So if the person is under the spell of Maya and Avidya, this person is going to be fully identified with matter energy, in other words, with the body-mind complex. No? And then we say, no, this Jivatma is mithya. But the person understands and claims one's identity as Satchitananda, as consciousness, existence of limitless nature. And then we say that Shiva-Atma is Paramatma. Very simple. But can we say that? Even saying that is not fair, because every Shiva-Atma is Paramatma. But, you need to know, accept it, embrace it, and claim it with certainty. I am Satya or I am Mithya. So the I fundamentally is Satya, and everything else is Mithya. So where this I is going to be sitting, if it sits on the body-mind as the body-mind is Mithya, if it sits in consciousness, this I is Mithya. That is so simple. There's nothing much more we can say about these apparent contradictions of statements of the identity of the Jivatma. Among many other arguments, Nietzsche's that has a beginning, middle, and end, which arrives and disappears, and everything is relative. It's a reality which is conditional. Conditional to what? To the entity experience that reality, and so on. So many arguments. The last final objection is analyzed in the verse 15. The objector says that the awakened world must be real because it's clearly experienced. In the dream world is unclear, so we just covered that. The dream world that is experienced with seeing is vague from the awaker standpoint, but not necessarily from the dreamer standpoint. We know that the awakened world that we experience seems to be clear, all right, but one should note that both the awakened and the dream experience are Mithya. Why? Because for many reasons, including the very statement based on which Mandukya stands, which is Mithya, is not that which was created, it's not that which is the effect of a cause, but Mithya is that in anything that can be known by the knower. And then we need to understand what this Upanishad means by the knower, the experiencer. No? And then it is this knower, it is experiencer as Satchitananda, consciousness, Turiya, Brahman, that somehow holds and experiences as well so with the aid, with the help of the body-mind complex. Gaudapada replies, how does one account for those different experiences in different states unless waking is real and dream is Mithya? Gaudapada replies that the difference in experience does not prove that one set is real and the other is Mithya, because all experience, to cut to the chase, all experience is Mithya. Why? Appears and disappears, change from moment to moment, and does not contain true happiness. And there are many arguments that we can just cut it. In all objects of experience is Mithya. They are not real. So, but there are many other arguments more on the superficial levels, which are these arguments that the objector brought here that can be resolved specifically to offset those arguments, as we have seen, But fundamental, any and all experience is Mithya. Stop it. Period. All experience aside, and then now Swami Paramarthananda with much patience is going to remind all experience have arrived and departure, so they are Mithya. They are conditional, they depend on the entity and the instruments, the upadhis. The experience of an animal. So there are many arguments. We have been going through several. Anything that changes is Mithya. Anything that appears and disappears is Mithya. And then the question remains, so what is Satya? What is Turiya? No? The Turiya is the very nature of Ishwara Jiva Jagat. The entire cosmos, has its true fundamental essence, nature, as conscious existence, which is the nature of the Jiva Atma. And then why do the trees cannot realize that? Because they don't have a good subtle body, as some of us have. So why the chicken, they're so far from realize their true nature, for similar reasons. So we have this set of instruments that allows us to come to this wisdom. Huh? All the 5 objections have been refuted. Everything is mithya, everything appears, disappears. Based on that, the objector raises a question. And one more question. I thought he was done with questions. Now there is one more question. Now you see, now we go back to the verse 11. Why? Because Swami Paramarthananda reorganized the Karikas as well, according to the subject, the theme, So just to make it simple for us. So he does a good work in organize, even the Gita, he does organize it nicely. So he went back to the verse 11, which is more appropriate in this progression here. If the unreality of the objects in both the states is accepted, who experienced these objects? Who is indeed the creator, the originator? Now, because in the beginning we say that most of all Upanishad says the cause of everything is Satya, the effect is Mithya, the cause is the creator, and the effect is the universe, which is the creation, is Mithya, and the creature is integral part of Mithya. And here in this Upanishad, we say, like, who is really knowing and experiencing this awakening world, And he explained that who is the creator, now, if we want to talk in terms of cause and effect. So suppose we accept the unreality of both states, but yet both states are experienced. So the fundamental question is, who is experienced these mithya words, mithya objects? So here we talk. Now we can investigate a little bit into the nature of Satya. Now we are talking about mithya, mithya, mithya. This verse contains a very profound question. The answer that is equally profound may be difficult to accept. The objector says that he agrees with the Gaudapada temporality, that the waking world also is mithya, like the dream world. That means more questions come up. I know that the dream world is projected by me, because we all know the dream is nothing but a projection of my mind, my vasanas, impressions, mental impressions in our minds. Therefore, I myself supports the dream world. So I have no problem to say that is my mental creation. I am the projector, I am the supporter, and later on I am the destroyer, because I make it go. I alone enter the dream world and experience the dream world also. I alone experience my dream using the dream body. I'm the projector, the supporter, and the experiencer of the dreamer, of the dream. In the awakening world also, if the awakened world was taken to be mithya, just like the dream, then who is the projector, who is the supporter, who is the experiencer of the awakened world? So because we take ourselves to be, most of human beings, not you guys, but most people takes the body mind to be the experiencing, or the I, or the self. So, and we have no problem to say, oh, no, it was just a projection of my mind. I had this dream experience, you know? And then it's impossible for such a person, yeah, to understand that this awakening world also is a projection, because I can understand that my mind projects the dream world, but I know that my small mind, my small Jiva Atma, yeah, in its material, energetic nature, yeah, I know that the body mind cannot project this reality out here. You understand? I know I cannot. And then remains the distinction. It's all the time only based on where you stand as identity. You understand? So who is projecting this dream world, this awakening world? So the answer is very simple. And that is the twist that Gaudapada brings, the change of in these Upanishads, because we often say that Maya Shakti projected, or a joint venture between Maya and Ishvara, you know, a structure and holds it, governed by all these laws, principles, intelligently support, and then it brings about the entity to experience and has the power to dissolve the awakened world as well, here and there. So now with these Upanishads, we are asking who is the I, who is the one projecting, sustaining, and experiencing and dissolving this awakening world. Now, who is that? Rather than say it's Maya, it's going to say it's you. And then again, we say I. Now, I. So now I can't do that. I know that I'm very limited. Of course, if you take the I to be the body mind, you will never be able to do that. But if you take the I to be consciousness, and then you can say, don't say that to the others, say only to yourself. I project, sustain, and experience this cosmos, this universe. No? So it's all about that. Very simple. I alone experience my dream. I alone support this dream, this world, this awakening world. If I am the projector, support, and the experience of this dream world, then for the awakened world also, the same rules should apply, because both worlds are mutual. Now he brings a kind of an argument, says like, if I have the power, Nidra Shakti, to project the dream world, which is a world of object of experience, and then as a waker, I should have the same power to project this awakening world, because both the dream world and the awakened world both are equally projections, mithya, superimposition. So in which way? And then we have this distinction, Nidra Shakti and Maya Shakti. But then Gaudapada resolves all of that, Nidra Shakti, Maya Shakti, everything to what? To Turiya, to consciousness. And that's where we see some statement that says that I, consciousness, project, support, and experience this world. You understand? Because fundamentally, Maya, Ishvara, they resolve themselves in I, Brahman, I, consciousness. I, consciousness, with the power of my Maya, as Lord Krishna says here and there in the Gita, with the power of my Maya, I'm going to sustain and experience this world, and project, of course. So the fundamental question is, if I am the one who, and then he used those codes, PSE, projector, support, and experience. If I am the PSE, so what it means, this I, what is the real meaning of this word I? It could be the physical body or the mental body. So then Swami answers his own question, saying it's neither. of them. The body itself is integral part of the waking world, and the mind as well is integral part of the physical world, because the mind being hooked up to the physical body, experiencing the physical world, is integral part of the Mithya awakening world as well. The mind is also not a projector, because the mind is also part of the waking world. The mind hooked up with the physical body, experience the physical world through all the physical sense instruments. I, the projector, must be different from the body and from the mind. The I is the consciousness principle. Oh, finally enough, I am Turiya, I am Atma, I am Satchitananda. Then the question is, how do I do such a thing? Only Ishvara knows. Only Ishvara knows how I, consciousness, can do that. I am the little jiva, from the standpoint of my knowledge, intellectual abilities, because as we know, Ishvara has an answer to this question. How Maya does that? Ishvara is supreme intelligence. He knows exactly how I, consciousness, with the power, using the power of mind, do that. So Ishvara knows, but the Jiva Atma cannot know. We cannot know how I, consciousness, do such a thing. But the Jiva Atma somehow is designed in a way that he does not need to know much about the mysteries of this universe to know that I am Turiya, I am Brahman, I am Satchitananda. Understand? So otherwise, if we would have to have the mind of Ishvara to know I am consciousness of limitless, infinite nature, and then there will be no game here. Everybody is fully realized, enlightened. Are you still getting me, or is it cutting a little bit? Okay. Yeah, because the weather is very unstable here. So we don't need to know. Ishvara knows. So how do I do such a thing? It's unbelievable. But then how do I project, sustain, and experience this world? I do it in the dream world, and then the answer is in Nidra Shakti. And then with the help of this Nidra Shakti, which is another name for Maya power, I project the dream universe consisting of the dream space and all other things, including the moon, the stars, and everything. So with the power of Maya Shakti, I, consciousness, project this awakening world. But here in the Mandukya, Gaudapada refers to as Maya Shakti, as I, not Maya Shakti, does project, support, and experience. I, the self, am capable of doing that, but don't ask me how. I know that I can do that, but I, appearing as a Jiva Atma, I have no clue. You have to send an email to Ishvara. So that is the bottom line. That is the blessing of having a human birth, because although we don't know much of this Mithya universe, we have the power to know the fundamental nature of Mithya as such, and claiming, because if I get to the bottom and I understand the fundamental nature of the whole universe as Satya, and I'm integral part of Satya, I'm an integral part of this universe. I cannot exclude me and say, the world is really a projection, but fundamentally the world is only consciousness, but I am the pure Jiva Atma. No, I have the attempt that the world fundamentally is consciousness, and I can't exclude myself because I'm an integral part of this Mithya world. Therefore, this Maya Shakti is I, consciousness. I don't really know how I do that, because the body-mind is limited. But I, consciousness, I am limitless, infinite consciousness. I can do all those things. Now, my fundamental nature can do all of this, but I don't know how my fundamental nature can do that, because I am the Jivatma with all sorts of limitations, but not the limitations. Not the limitation is not enough to prevent me from understanding that I am this consciousness that projects, sustains, and experiences the entire universe in all times, all space. I project two different words, and both are mutual. Once I know that these words are projected by me and they are mithya, they are just an apparent reality, the greatest advantage is to further understand that mithya cannot affect, harm, or touch my nature in such as such. This is all there is to self-knowledge. The greatest fructification is to know that the experience, the body-mind experience, do not affect I as such as consciousness. Okay, so the mithya world can harm even the mind, but cannot harm my nature as such as consciousness of limitless nature. And this is again a very subtle thing, because experientially speaking, if I say that the mithya world can harm my body mind, can affect my mental condition, depending on the circumstance. Because now the body mind is changing together with the flux of changing outside of the body mind. And then how can we say that my nature in satya can never be affected or harmed by whatsoever happens in mithya? So this is I sometimes in Portuguese language I say it's an interface between satya and mithya, in which the Jiva-Atma stands in consciousness, and as consciousness experience mithya to the extent that adversities of mithya affect the body, mind, but does not affect really the Jiva-Atma, because he is there standing or identified as its nature as satya. And then okay, my mind may get a little bit changed, because everything here changed, but I am very well established in consciousness satya, satya. And then this is the fruits of self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is to know this. Mithya world can never affect me as satya, but then we need to put it to the test to the extent that we experience the so-called vairagya, equanimity, and the power, the strength, the balance to hold, your self-knowledge in a way that regardless of all sort of adversities, being the death of the physical body, one of the biggest for most people, do not affect me, because I'm properly established in such consciousness as consciousness. So that is the benefit. So Ayana has got this knowledge in a moment in which the mind is strong, is subtle, is sattvic, and it's sharp, and God is knowledge. And when we say knowledge is that which is always good, it's always good. And then the Yanni in a later phase of one's life may be very old, the mind may be very weak, but knowledge is that which is always good. And then that knowledge, you say, "Ooh, the mind is so weak," and everything changed. But my self-knowledge was never affected by any of that. I hold my conviction that nothing in mithya can touch or harm my nature in satya. So, and that brings us to the fourth capsule of Vedanta. I'm never affected by any event that takes place in this material world and in the material body. And even in the mental body, emotional body, I'm never affected. Then the fifth capsule of Vedanta says, by forgetting my real nature, I convert life into a burden, and by remembering and holding that identity, yeah, as my true nature, I convert life into a blessing because I can claim my glory. This is a profound topic. It's a lovely, wonderful topic, yeah? Very subtle. So in which way the Jivatma is going to experience life in a totally different way, converting one's human experience in a beautiful, grateful, blessed experience, and for the simple fact of claiming one's true identity in its very nature as consciousness, no? And then I can claim my glory. I can claim my true nature. I am consciousness of limitless, infinite nature. Yeah. So this is beautiful. Regarding this topic, the objector again raises a question. Suppose the objects in both the waking and the dream states are Mithya, who is the projector and who is the awakening? Who is the projector and the experience of the waking world? Anything in Mithya has to be projected. I know that I am projector of the dream world, therefore I infer that I'm also a projector of the awakening world. As so far as I know that Nidra Shakti is something more than just my mental state, my vasanas, okay? Nidra Shakti is a power that allows my vasanas to be projected, and this Nidra Shakti resolves itself in Maya Shakti, which resolves itself in Turiya and Brahman as Brahman. The next question is who is projector? Now, who is the supporter and who is experienced that? And Gaudapada answers this question in the next verse. So let's go into the verse 12. We know that Ishvara created the world. Now Gaudapada is changing that and says, no, 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 you are creating this world, and this is really revealing mind-blowing, disturbing news. So how do I create this universe? In which way? I create it in both ways. I create it as a body-mind complex, which is a program, and I create as pure limitless consciousness, which is the nature of my body-mind complex. Right, Lynn? Did you get that? Anybody having any question or objection, feel free. So this is the verse. The effulgent Atma projects itself by itself through its own Maya power. That self, that Atma itself experiences the objects. This is the conclusion of Vedanta. Yeah? So it is consciousness, which is Turiya. Somehow it has a certain inherent power to project itself without going through any change. Because if consciousness or if Turiya or if the Atma would really project itself, it would have to go through change. So therefore, we need to understand this verse, yeah, using often that magic word that says seemingly or apparently projects itself, okay? This reality, this apparent reality, Mithya reality, it does not really exist, okay? I, consciousness, apparently project myself using a certain magic power of the deceiving Maya. And not only that, I, Atma, I, consciousness, I myself experience this Maya universe. Okay, so this is the conclusion of Vedanta as far as this Upanishad goes. So this is the disturbing statement. Yeah? The answer is, however, is whoever is project the dream world is the same who projects the waking world, which is consciousness. Therefore, Atma, the self or consciousness alone, projects out of itself the waking world without undergoing any change, because this projection is not really real. It belongs to what? The Mithya order, that which is just a mirage. So does the sand needs to go through any change to appear as water or oasis? No, it does not go through any change. It's just a phenomenon that happens, which belongs to another order, physical phenomenal order of something that we called a mirage, in the optics, physical subject or around optics. Yeah, I remember I studied that in the college. So Atma alone projects out itself, the awakening world, with the help of Atma itself. Other than Maya Shakti, Atma does not need anything else for this projection. So again, Atma, consciousness, Brahman, is one without the second. There is no inclusion, not even inclusion of anything such as Maya. Maya is part of the delusion or illusion. Mart is below the line of Satya line. So Maya, being a great, great deceiver, has the power to project a mirage over the sand. Okay? So, and then we say, other than Maya Shakti, Atma does not need anything else for its projection. So it apparently projects itself using this certain power, the same way the dreamer does project the dream world, using the same power, which is a sub-power of Maya that we call Nidra Shakti, for project the dream world. In the same way, Atma does not require anything other than Maya to project this world. The point I'm trying to make here, there is no two principles, Satya and Maya. And if we say that Satya Mithya, this is another apparent contradiction we see in the teaching of Vedanta. We say that the order of reality is non-duality. The true nature of reality is non-duality. But then we introduce the Satya Mithya teachings. And then we say it's the true nature of reality is non-duality, but first we need to go into what is Satya and what is Mithya. So Satya Mithya does not represent duality, okay? Because as we say again and again, Satya is real and Mithya is not real or apparently real or just a superimposition or projection. So there is only one power, is inherent to the very, very, very substratum of Mithya. So what is the most fundamental prakriti of Mithya is Maya. Okay? Maya. Maya is the most fundamental, is the beginning of Mithya, is this energy with the power to mix up, or to bring about the reflection of the three gunas, and then Ishvara pops up and says, leave it to me. I'm going to manipulate all energies and mix them up and project and sustain this apparent universe. But it's all within the domain of seeming apparently reality. Okay, there is no contradiction, there is no duality. But then one says, and then this gets a little bit more interesting. So, but then where does Maya come from? If the nature of reality is non-duality, so where did this Maya come from? Gaudapada says that it is already there in Atma. similar to the Nidra Shak, which is already there in the mind of the Jiva Atma. That Atma alone is called Ishwara, Bhagavad. In the Bhagavad Gita and other Puranas, Bhagavan creating is only an expression in Puranas. So it presents that Ishwara creates the world. That Bhagavan is not outside in some loka. Bhagavan is nothing other than consciousness, the self. That's why the Upanishads, the students of the Upanishad, use the word Krishna Paramatma to indicate the creator of this universe is Paramatma, no? It's the Atma, it's the self. So let's go back and let's keep going here, and then I want to make some comments on this part. In the Gita, Krishna says, "I am the self who resides in the heart of all beings, and I am the cause of the creation and sustenance and resolution of all beings and things." You know? He's saying that I, consciousness, I project all of that. And the student of Gita, say, "Ooh, amazing. Oh, look at Krishna's. Now he's talking as Brahman, and Brahman is doing this and this and this and that." And the invitation here is to change the perspective, say, I am doing this and that. Okay? I, consciousness, that principle reside in the hearts of all beings. I'm the one creating, sustaining, and resolving everything back into myself. I'm the only reality. So how does this universe appears? Due to avidya. We don't see that it's just a mirage. We don't see that it's just a reflection. It appears as reality. And how are we going to resolve it all back in Brahman? There are two ways. We wait for the next pralaya, or we get self-knowledge, and then we resolved the sense of reality of this reflection into its true nature, which is consciousness of Brahman, the only reality. So thinking that Ishwara is outside, people go in search of Ishwara and do not find him. And then they conclude that there is no Ishwara, there is no Bhagwan, there is no God. It's like the wave going around searching for water, the fundamental nature of the ocean and the wave. Yes, Lee.
I've been thinking about how beautifully this progression of bhakta is structured, because when one starts to really understand Vishwarupa Ishwara, the whole creation as Ishwara, it's sort of like preparing the ground to get to the next step.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautifully structured.
Yeah, it is beautifully structured from in the context of the teachings of Vedanta, because most devotees, they stop there, and Vedanta presents it does not present as a bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion as a path to self-knowledge and moksha. It just presents it as a preparation,
It helps make that intellect subtle enough.
Yeah, definitely, you need to bring the creator into the equation of one's life, so that you can understand this relationship. And this understanding is going to gradually bring about this fragrance called devotion, which is which develops as a trust, and at the same time takes away the burden to believe that I have any control over my future, my parabada. So I don't have control, I just surrender my desire to control. I surrender my desire to experience punya here and there, and then I take whatsoever comes with this understanding. So this This is the way to prepare the body-mind so that later on the body-mind can say, yes, so I am Brahman. And I bring about Ishvara, the creator, because from the standpoint of Upanishad, there is no creation, but from the standpoint of Karma Yoga, there is creation. From the standpoint of Karma Yoga, there is creator, creature, and creator, creation, and creature. Because the whole goal of Karma Yoga is to help us to understand this relationship. This is all within Mithya. And it does not help to say Mithya is Mithya, I'm interested in such. No, you have to use Mithya and the tools, the spiritual teachings in regards to the knowledge of Mithya knowledge, as I sometimes put, because that's the way to naturally and gradually and spontaneously to prepare the mind to understand Aham Brahmasmi. Now I am the only reality. Out of me, Shwara Jiva Jagat appears, As I often say, it is in Mithya and only Mithya that Satya can be understood and owned. Devotion is absolutely important, but what I was trying to say, Lynn, is that we should know that that is not a pass, it is not an end in itself, it does not lead to self-knowledge, but it's very, very important. And it's only a shift later on, because if you are devoted to the Creator, and then you're going to later on shift that devotion to the substratum of the Creator, which is your very substratum, which is your very nature. So, and then you are no longer quote unquote dependent on the Creator, but you are independent of the Creator, because now you depend only on your very nature as Brahman, which is somehow synonymous of being independent. So we say consciousness is free and independent, meaning to say, I am the only reality, so therefore I don't depend on anything. But if I take myself to be the body-mind devoted to the Creator, and then I depend on the Creator in every possible sense, as long as I really understand what the Creator, and my relationship with the Creator. Therefore, I am the projector, I am the supporter, I am also the experiencer. I project the dream. To experience the dream world, I need the dream body. Similarly, to experience the project waking world, I use my physical body. I create the dream and I support the dream, but my own dream threatens me. That's very funny, no? Do I really project this dream world? No. I mean, it's the system, Ishvara, Maya, howsoever, Nidra, that keeps projecting, It appears that I'm projecting, but if I would project, so I would only have beautiful dreams, wonderful dreams. Huh? So I project the dream world, but unfortunately, sometimes I suffer my dream. The dream begins threatening me. And how about the awakened state? So I consciousness project this. And I, the Jiva Atma, the entity, unless I understand that this dream world does not have true reality to it, I'm going to feel attracted and afraid of whatsoever shows up in my life. I'm going to be subject to attraction and repulsion, and I'm going to suffer the disease of samsara. Therefore, the world ends up becoming a huge problem for me because of self-ignorance. To solve the problem, I have to wake up from the dream world and later on from the awakening world. The second awakening is the spiritual awakening, is to transfer my identity not from the dreamer to the awaker, but from awaker to real consciousness, Brahman. This is the final teaching of Vedanta. I have been looking down upon myself as an insignificant jiva. Yeah? I remember those statements I heard so often from Ramji. So I realized that I was just looking down upon myself, establishing notions which was self-limiting notions. Yeah? And he used to use another word, self-insulting, self-limiting notions about myself, you understand? I have been looking down upon myself, believing that I am the insignificant body-mind. Gaudapada says that I am the significant creator. Now again, he brings the idea of creator, so there is no creator. There is only Brahman, which he apparently creates. Because when we say creator, I will say creator. I am the significant creator of a creation, which is just a projection, which is not real. So therefore, the spiritual journey is from, this is beautiful, it's from the creature to the creator. Now, we begin, as Lynn was saying, I am the creature, and I go in the triangle format, searching for the creator of this apparent reality, and devoting to him, understand its principles and laws, harmonizing my life with its laws, living in a way that I can grow, yeah, and develop my mind. So spiritual journey begins from the creature that brings in the understanding of the creator, learns to behave according to its laws and relating in harmony with everything which was created, apparently, of course. So we're going to live, yeah, following all these principles. And then later on, my journey grows, and my creature begins appearing more as myself. My creature, no, my creator. No? My creator appears at the end as my very Atma, my very self, because I begin to understand Aham Brahmasmi. I am the true creator of this non-existent meteor world, this apparent real, apparent meteor world. So the journey is from the creature who has walked away from the creator and then comes back to the. What we see in the world now is basically, I mean, I think it's in the Bhagavad Gita. There is another passage that I was listening to that Swami Paramarthananda makes some mention of that, you know, that spirituality is disappearing, yeah. Yani yoga and yanis are becoming rare. Yeah, Ishwara is disappearing. Everything is becoming just material, physical world. But the journey is that. Is from the creature that, you know, moved away from the creator, going back to the creator until one understands that I am the very creator of this entire apparent universe. No, that's beautiful. Okay, anything from you guys? So next week? No, next Monday, you want to do the class on Tuesday, or what you want to do? Or you want to leave it for Friday?
For me, Friday.
Tuesday sounds good to me, Arlinda.
Huh?
Tuesday sounds good.
For you to do on Tuesday sounds good. And how about you, Lynn?
That's fine.
Would you like it? Would you like it? We do it on Tuesday?
I would love it.
Okay, so that's what I need to know. And then our Monday class is gonna be. I have one of those tucanos. Two tucanos here. Three. You know tucanos? The one with those. Who knows the name of this bird, the tucano?
Oh, a toucan. Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Three of them here on my deck.
Oh, that's special.
So our Monday class is gonna be Tuesday, okay? And then we do next week, Tuesday and Friday. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste.
Thank you, Orlando.
Thank you, my dear. We meet soon again. Ishvara allowing.
And you know
Thank you,
what?
Arlinda.
I can do an hour earlier. I've just been thinking. If it works, I'm not sure how it works for Philippe or Mark, but or
What time
Sylvia.
what time you get up usually?
Between 5 and 6. I can work it. But I don't
Okay.
know if the others can.
I will. And how would that be for you, Mark, to do even more earlier into your afternoon day of work?
Yeah, it would work better for me, Arlindo, actually.
Okay. It would work better for me, would be better for you. And how about Philippe? It will be okay to do it at 10, Philippe?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Are you sure, Lynn?
I am certain.
Okay. And then soon enough, it goes back to be 7 a.m. for you again, huh? It's
True.
6 months like this and like, or what?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, thank you. And then I'm going to most probably announce our next class on 1 hour earlier, okay?
Great.
Namaste.
Okay. God bless.
Namaste.